warming in my cockles, my hard cockles.
Hot cockles.
Hot cockles. They're too warm. That's what happens if your cockles get too warm.
You have steamed cockles.
That sounds delicious.
With mayonnaise and a little
Put
butter.
mayonnaise on anything and I'll eat it. Well, maybe not anything.
Oh. I had a dream about mayonnaise the other night.
Really?
Yeah, it was really weird.
Was the mayonnaise like pivotal?
No.
Like you were looking for mayonnaise?
No, I was spreading mayonnaise on furniture.
To make it waterproof.
I'm not sure. No, the furniture, it was kind of, it was like a footstool of some sort, and it had little dimples and holes in it.
Yeah.
Like decoratively speaking, and I needed to fill those up.
Huh.
And mayonnaise was my tool of choice.
Have you seen this, like, there are a lot of posts about it on the internets, where I entertain myself. Videos of people using ramen as building material. Have you seen this?
As wood fill.
Yeah. And even in like cement.
Yeah.
To like it's like and it works apparently.
Apparently it works if you have the right, grit of sandpaper.
Yeah.
It works.
It makes me uncomfortable that I consumed so much as a child. Like, before I could cook, I would eat the ramen raw and sprinkle the... Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It was good. That was like one of my favorite snacks. Raw ramen.
raw ramen. Oh, no.
Good times. So welcome back.
Yeah.
We're
it's
back
been too
from
long.
A long vacation.
That was a vacation?
Yeah.
Fuck. That wasn't a vacation. That was
really
me going
wasn't.
back to school. That was you moving.
Yeah.
That was me going on vacation. I did go for 2 weeks to Dad's.
That's true. And we went on our cabin rendezvous.
Our women's retreat.
That's right, our women's retreat, where we may or may not have actually conjured spirits. I don't know.
But I will tell you, like, ladies, I don't know if you know, but I've never really been on like a women's retreat.
Same.
Yeah. Because I'm just like, oh.
Women, ugh.
Yeah. I mean, never mind that our entire podcast is devoted to them.
We love women.
We love
from a distance.
Women to leave us alone when we want to be left alone. Right?
Yes.
So I was like, okay, well.
We love women. We don't love drama.
Yeah. Tabitha and I are kind of drama free.
Yeah.
So what was interesting.
I like to talk about drama.
Yeah. What was interesting was it was all your people.
Yeah.
You were the center of influence.
Yeah.
You were the COI on this.
Yeah. It was cool because I chose people kind of based on their personalities and just also that these people are close to me in all these different parts of my life. One of my oldest friends from high school, and my witches and Stacie, and it was interesting because it was all of these different parts of my life kind of coming together, and I love all of them, and for them to all get along, it was like,
it wasn't just that we got along. I get along with people.
It was like
I'm
this,
easygoing.
Such a positive energy.
We bonded.
Yeah.
It was like a stupid movie.
It
how
was
well
so
we
cool.
bonded, right?
Yes.
Like we had known each other.
Yeah.
But we didn't.
Yeah.
Anyway, I really had fun.
And there was, it was good. It was very good. And Stacie, in addition to becoming a boss-ass business bitch, also has started another podcast. She's cheating on me with herself.
With myself, though.
It's just masturbation.
It's
fine.
podsturbation.
That's right. It's podsturbation, so I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
I still get to listen, so it's okay.
You do. You get to join in. You were my very first guest.
That's true. I was her very first guest. Yeah. So check that out.
And
hopefully
also,
she'll be posting soon.
I was cheating with you.
Yes.
It's my first podcast because that was the first one I was going to do.
Yeah.
And then you talked me into doing this.
Yeah.
Thankfully. So we went back. But that'll be out soon.
Yeah. And you guys are going to love it. So
yeah,
fun.
It's fun. It's called Shit Just Got Weird.
Yes. So speaking of shit getting weird, we are going to talk about murder.
Yeah.
It's my spooky October voice.
Tell me if this is still accurate, though, because I don't know what you're talking about tonight.
Okay. It's a woman. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, I got that. is I titled this temporarily Mob Rule. Is that still
Okay,
appropriate, or do I need to retitle it?
I would say probably retitle it because my person was killed by someone intent with like
A
intent
person.
and like yeah,
Okay, but we are talking murder.
we are talking
Okay,
murder.
so this probably won't be called Mob Rule. It'll be
It could
called
be
murder.
murder. It starts with an M still.
Yeah.
Murder, mobs. Mobs are idiots, right?
Not mob like the mafia.
No, I'm talking about like when you have groups of people, they become stupid.
Can.
Yeah.
That reminds me, we should do an episode about hysteria,
Yes.
mass hysteria.
Dancing. The town that
Yes,
danced for
the
like
whole
ever.
town.
Yes.
And the laughing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
I'm into it. Okay.
Cool.
So we're gonna talk about murder. Do you want to go first?
No, you can go first,
Okay. So
so I can enjoy my drink.
my excellent. I will probably enjoy my drink while I tell the story.
Yeah.
So my woman is only significant in her death. Okay.
Okay.
So, unfortunately, I'm not covering anybody who like changed the world or anything tonight because it's October and I found this story and it's really perfect
That's
for
great.
October.
I'm fine with
So,
that. by
and
the
I
way.
had never heard of her. So it's kind of interesting because I don't know if you're following what's going on in Catalonia and with Spain and whatever. So anyway, the Spanish have, you know, had their share of political issues, and this kind of touches on those subjects. It has to do with Portugal, but
Okay.
and also okay. So anyway, I'll just start. I'm
Okay.
just gonna start because I think I did kind of. That was my preamble.
Lovely.
It's
Lovely.
my pre-ramble.
Yeah. Hashtag
Okay.
pre-ramble.
That's true. That's Tabitha to a T.
Yeah.
So I'm going to
ahead.
tell you about Ines de Castro. Have you heard of her?
Oh, no. This will be new to me too.
Okay. So Inez was born in 1325 in Galicia, which was a Gaelic, Celtic group that was like also kind of half Spanish, Portuguese.
What?
This region, I had never even heard of this. This region was located in the northwest of the Iberian Peninsula. Okay, so basically, the Portuguese took over this area, and Inez was a member of a family that would have been considered nobility, but the Portuguese were kind of coming in and saying like, you're not going to be an independent nation, etc.
Okay. Okay.
So she was a member of kind of a deposed nobility. She was the daughter of a lord and his Portuguese mistress, which, from what I read, didn't seem to matter really, only in the legitimacy of heirs. So because she was a female, she was considered the lord's daughter. Like it didn't matter that she was illegitimate because she was female.
Did the same rule apply if she had been male?
I don't know.
Like,
I
then
couldn't
he's just
find,
a bastard.
Yeah, I couldn't find anything except for the fact that fathers could make their children legitimate, which comes into play later.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough.
So when she lived as a lady would have, she was educated and had manners, etc.
So she wasn't like a wolf child.
She wasn't a wolf child. Okay. So she traveled with her cousin at the age of 15 to go to Portugal. Her cousin was Constance of Castile.
Oh, I've heard that name.
Okay.
Maybe just Castile.
Castile, you would have heard. So the Castilians and the Portuguese there was very tense relations between the two. And so the marriage was set up to establish closer ties between Castile and Portugal.
Okay.
So it was a marriage of political, I mean, like any
alliances
royal,
and,
yeah. It was,
okay.
So she goes, Constance travels, she's about 19, and she travels with her 15-year-old cousin. Okay. So Peter, who is only 20, I want to point that out first.
Okay.
Because otherwise it's gross. Okay. So he meets them, and he's of course spending time with queen, or with the princess, because he's Peter. He was set to become Peter the First of Portugal, so he's the heir apparent to the throne of Portugal.
Is it actually Peter or is it Pietro or something? I mean,
Everything
I just
that I
kind of-
found, it was just Peter.
Just Peter.
Just Peter.
All right.
And then and wait till you hear their kids' names. You're just gonna be like, what? Really? Okay.
You had one job.
Yeah.
Name your fucking kid something cool when you're royalty.
Hello. Like, that's like the best opportunity to name anybody, is like, even the queen. I bet she has like, she does actually have awesome names for her dogs. A lot of them are named after like things you eat at tea.
Yeah. Yeah. Crumpet.
Yes, I love it. Okay, so they're all hanging out, right? And Peter falls head over heels in love with Ines. Like, so in love that he even starts spending less and less time with his wife.
What? Huh?
Yeah. So he's like, because for a little while he can juggle them both, but then he like loves Ines and he doesn't want to be with his wife. He wants to be with Ines.
Okay.
But he has to be with Ines or with Constance, sorry, to have babies and whatever. So they do that.
For like legitimacy, like heirs.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So they do that, but he is totally in love with Ines and he's spending lots of time with her and with her brothers. All of which are exiled Castilian nobility. So the king is kind of like, I'm not really feeling this, that the Castilians are getting so close to the throne like this.
Okay.
Right? Mm-hmm. So he decides he's just going to kind of wait it out, the king. He's just going to wait it out because obviously his son is young and this girl's 15. He's going to grow out of it. Right?
Yeah, sure.
So then in 1345, Constance dies.
Oh.
Okay. So now he's like, nothing in my way. I'm about to marry my girl. And the king's like...
Does she just die? Was she ill?
She died having a baby. And then the baby died. Yeah.
Oh.
It's sad.
I can relate.
A lot of... And then actually Inez's first child also died.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's sad.
All right.
So anyway.
So this isn't the murder.
So this is not the murder. So in 1345, Constance dies. And the prince already has male heirs that are legitimized. So he's good. His firstborn son, though, with his wife, he's kind of weak. And everybody's like a little bit nervous that maybe he's not going to survive childhood. Okay?
Okay.
So at this point... He's already been in secret with Ines. They've been together because they love each other. She loved him as well. This wasn't like
so totally consensual. And
yeah, totally.
She's like 15.
At this point, she would have been like, 17 maybe when her cousin died.
Okay.
So, but he's only 20.
Yeah.
So like they're very close, probably in emotional age, I would say. Mm-hmm. Which isn't to say that I think that 15-year-old girls should be with 20-year-old boys.
Right.
This was a long time ago, people.
Yeah.
It's not now. It's not the now time.
She's an old hag by now, yeah?
Yeah. Oh, yep.
She's spinster.
So, yeah. So she doesn't really have any chance of getting married because her family has been, like, removed from power. So she's kind of like, it's going to be difficult for her to marry off. That's why she became a maid, because she's still in court. Mm-hmm. So anyway, her cousin dies, and the king is like, okay, well, now you have to marry somebody else. And Peter's like, no, I'm good. I like Ines. I'm just going to be with her. And the king's like, no, you're not. So he banishes Ines and her children, the children that she's had with Peter. Mm-hmm. So she gets banished, and Peter goes with her. And so the king shows up a couple of times and is like, tries to get Peter to listen to reason and to, come back and do what he's supposed to do and stop messing around with this, Castilian girl.
Yeah.
And he refuses to leave her. So the king sends 2 assassins to the monastery where Ines and her children are being held. And the assassins stab her and cut her head off in front of her child.
Ouch.
Yeah. Major ouch. So this happens in 1345.
Okay. Okay.
So not a lot Peter can do, right?
Mm-hmm.
He claims that he had married Inez in secret and tries to legitimize his kids, and the king is not listening.
Okay.
So then the king dies
Mm.
in 1357, and Peter becomes the king. Okay?
Oh, okay.
And this is where the story gets a bit macabre.
Oh.
This was the part of the story that I couldn't wait to tell you.
Okay, cool. Cool.
So in 1357,
Okay.
it is said that he exhumed her body and had her body dressed in gowns and her head covered in crowns and forced all of the Portuguese nobility to give her deference. This is the quote.
Okay.
Okay?
Uh-huh.
The king caused the body of his beloved to be disinterred and placed on a throne, adorned with diadem and royal robes, and required all the nobility of the kingdom to approach and to kiss the hem of her garment.
Wow.
Now, if you guys want to do some quick math,
I was gonna ask.
she died in 1345.
Yeah.
She was exhumed in 1357.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And embalming is not what it is now.
No, no, no.
So
It's
she was a skeleton. She was a
only-
headless skeleton.
no, they put her head back on.
Ugh.
And there would still be there might be bits of things depending on the weather.
Yeah, where are they? Okay.
So,
yeah, because if this is
Spain.
in like, oh God,
but they
yeah.
could be in like a wine
she would
cellar.
be like soup.
It would not be pleasant for anyone involved in this situation. But
So-
the idea is also this event has been depicted in art,
Mm-hmm.
and I believe there's an opera about this love story.
That's cool.
Yeah. The idea is that he didn't just dig her up. He wanted her celebrated, and he sat
Yeah.
beside her and held her hand.
No.
Like, there are versions of the story that are just like, I don't know. It's because it's
kind of
gross
lovely.
and
It's
like
lovely.
Annabelle Lee is one of my
Yeah.
favorite poems ever,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it's basically about a guy who's like sleeping next to his rotting love. But there's
Yeah.
something about it that's just like profound and a little crazy.
Well, he
but-
obviously respected her.
Yes.
A great deal.
Yes.
And then she got disrespected.
Yeah.
So when that fucker died,
Yeah.
he's like, now I'm going to make sure she gets the respect that she deserved all
And it was like
along.
one of the first things that he did.
Wow.
And then in 61, it took him that long to convince everybody, but he legitimized their children as well. And declared himself to have been married to her posthumously. So
Well-
it's really this, when you, at first you're like a king and a 15-year-old girl and you're kind of like, ew, but that's love, man.
Yeah, that really is lovely.
It's like,
That's
know
a
what I
lovely
mean?
story.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
It's kind of weird and gross, but there's a beauty to
Ladies,
it.
find you the kind of man that
will
after you
dig-
die
yes.
digs you up and makes the entire kingdom
Yes.
worship you in your gowns.
Yes, and like kiss you, like they were like kissing her rotting feet. Like basically, I know it's bad, but it's like she deserved that when
Well,
she
like
was alive.
like
but,
symbolically,
like,
it's beautiful.
yes.
In
The
reality,
it would have been
gaggy.
gross.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine the smell in that room? Like a close room with no windows, because likely in those inner rooms in big houses
It'd
like
be
that.
like catacombs and shit, right?
Ooh, yeah, you don't know.
Like if it was very airy and like arid. I mean, if it was very arid, like the mummies that we saw at the science center.
We'd have to figure out what, like, also find out what are the burial practices, because those also, we have to take that into account.
Yeah.
The paintings and things in which this event has been depicted, she just looks like pallid, like she just looks white.
Oh, come on.
And her eyes are just kind of, but the craziest thing is like the huge bandage that's like
No.
holding on. Yes.
Pay no attention to the neck area.
Oh, they like definitely are showing you that like her head is being held on to her body.
Because remember the two mummies that they found, where was it? In like London. There were people that were buried, or no, this wasn't this, but it was in like a London, what's it called?
Underground
Basement. Balcony would only come to my brain, and that's the opposite of what I was looking for.
Underground balcony.
Yes, called the basement.
Yes.
And they were mummified. So, I mean, accidentally mummified. So if she were mummified, there would be, she'd be a little leathery, but she would be all there.
Yeah.
However, if it was a place that was like, you know, that she would have rotted quickly and you'd just have bones, and you would just have bones.
Yeah.
But it also could be a place where she is somewhere in between those, which is
if
just...
she's nobility, I would imagine that dead nobility is treated I mean, hello, Egypt, right?
Yeah, and that was quite a bit before the 1350s.
But I think that still you would have like a more dedicated, I don't know.
It would be interesting.
It would be gross, no matter what. Lovely. So romantic.
It would be messy in one situation. It would be just kind of gross and leathery in one.
Too juicy.
I'm thinking she could be pretty juicy.
Yeah, that's going to be...
But then again, I've seen like, you know, I've been to like cathedrals where they have like saints that haven't decomposed. And they look like wax figures, but supposedly it's their bodies, and they just never decomposed. Right?
You've actually seen that?
Yeah, in New York, I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've never seen that.
Yeah, it was like a child saint.
Wow.
And I mean, I don't know, maybe she was wax. I don't know. Yeah. But the thing was, supposedly that was her body, and she didn't decompose because she was a saint. Like that was the part of it. Yeah. That like she was.
But I wonder if there
beautiful.
is like, because decomposition is, well, it's caused by what, bacterial consumption and
bacteria and bugs, maggots, you know, all the stuff that makes you go back to the earth.
Yeah. Any other kind of like, I mean, if you're in a box,
but in lieu
of
that,
become soup.
In lieu of that, it would be like, you know, it makes me want to take a field trip to the body farm and say, okay, Spain would have been like this portion of the woods.
Exactly.
Take me there.
What did they do to her body?
What would have happened? You know, we're talking 12 years, 45 to 57. That's a long time.
It is.
That's a long time. Maybe she wouldn't be soup. That's too long to be soup.
I feel like maybe if she was wrapped up, they would just unwrap her. But then she would have like no nose.
She wouldn't have a nose anyway.
She would not have a nose.
Unless she's a mummy. But even then, they have kind of like the kind of sunken,
yeah. So, yeah. So that's how she died. Peter did have a third wife. However, he was buried with. So she was interned somewhere else and then dug up for the wedding or whatever, and then put back in the ground somewhere else, and then dug up yet again. And she was moved to the monastery of Alcobacal, where she lays next to Peter. And actually, I'll post a link to the pictures. There are two intricate marble coffins that face each other, and they're lined up so that on Judgment Day, because, you know, they're into that.
Not like a date, like
no.
April 3rd, Judgment Day.
No, like, you know, the big one. You know, they will rise to stand and see each other.
Oh, okay.
And the coffins are so beautiful. It's so sad. Okay, it's so sad. But yeah, so then he had a message written to her, which is "A te o fin du mundo," until the end of the world.
Oh, Peter, you're killing me.
Peter is like the man, right?
Yeah, that's very romantic.
Interesting side note on Wikipedia, when I looked him up to get a little background, he is either known as Peter the Terrible or Peter the Caring. So I guess depending on...
So catch him on the right day.
Yeah. So I guess, yeah, depending on whose side you were on, he was either a really great guy or really terrible.
If this guy dug up his wife and made you kiss her, he's pretty terrible.
Yeah. He's got a wicked streak in him.
Wow.
So, yeah. Unfortunately, there wasn't a lot about her that I could find other than this love story, but I don't know. I thought it was perfect for October.
I think it's a great story, and I think you don't have to worry about, because I say so because this is my podcast, you don't have to worry about that this isn't someone that was famous or did anything that impacted the world, because we're all about talking about the women that didn't and maybe should have. I mean, she didn't do anything except die, but she was the kind of woman that Peter loved. You know, she was that woman. She was
enough. She was a threat in the king's eyes, which to me meant that she's was an doing intelligent woman.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. That it's not you can sway like a man that with those kind of wiles for a little while, but to earn that kind of love and devotion,
it wasn't her boobies.
You have to be more. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, that's cool. That's just a neat story, and it is macabre, but it's also really beautiful. That's a good one. That's a really good find.
Yeah, I was excited. I was going to go with somebody who, saved children or something.
Whatever. One of the reasons I love this podcast, I love that we're doing this, is it does introduce us to women that we would not have heard about in our history classes or even in popular culture. I mean, there's women that I should have heard about, and I didn't. And the woman I'm going to talk about is one of those. I cannot believe I didn't know about this person. Like, it blows my mind. She's so cool.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I'm going to talk today about Hypatia. Some scholars say that she was born in 370 A.D., so old.
She's old.
Oldie. Mm-hmm. Others say 350.
But that's a whole 20 years difference.
It's quite a discrepancy, and it's not like she shaved off a couple years so that she wouldn't appear as old. It wasn't a vanity thing. She had some work done. Yeah, not 20, right? We aren't sure. Scholars aren't really sure, because both dates are based on journals of some of her contemporaries. And one guy said she was old when she died. And honestly, she was either 45 or 65. So either way, fuck that guy.
Yeah.
Right?
What? That's not old?
Yeah. What is known for sure is that she died in 415. Okay?
Yeah.
And her death is actually one of the things that makes her super famous. And I'll get to that later. But kind of like your girl.
Yeah.
This is why.
That's what she's known.
This is why we know her.
Yeah.
Which is stupid.
Yeah.
Because Hypatia was a Hellenistic Neoplatonist philosopher, an astronomer, a teacher, a mathematician, a writer, and a pagan who lived in Alexandria, Egypt. Now, she was the daughter of the mathematician Theon of Alexandria. And he was considered a great mathematician during his lifetime. Mm-hmm. But modern scholars consider his work as, quote, minor, trivial, and completely unoriginal. I mean, I feel like it's Tim Gunn.
Damn.
Yeah, it's like, make it work, Theon. So a little bit of a sidebar here, because I do think this is important. One of his achievements, so we're talking about Theon, one of his achievements was the production of a new edition of Euclid's Elements, in which he corrected scribal errors that had been made over the course of nearly 700 years of copying.
Wow.
His edition of Euclid's Elements became the most widely used edition of the textbook for centuries and almost totally supplanted other editions. Like, this is the one that they use. Also, there's this little thing called the Library of Alexandria. You might have heard of that. Heard of it. Yeah. There was an Alexandrian museum, kind of more like a university than a museum.
Yeah.
And the collections of this museum of more than 500,000 scrolls was housed in the Library of Alexandria.
Wow.
Theon was the head of this school, and he was the last known member of the Library of Alexandria.
Wow.
So he wasn't a dumbass by any means.
No.
Another great accomplishment of his is that he taught mathematics and astronomy to his daughter. So good on him.
Yeah.
And nothing at all is known of Hypatia's mother. Womp womp.
She was a woman.
She was a woman, and she had a mother. Okay, so let me set the scene. This is a crazy time of religious conflict between the Christians, the Jews, and the pagans. It's way too complicated to go into here. Like, I can't.
I know bits.
I can't even.
Yeah.
Okay. I will just say that Hypatia was a philosopher in a pagan form of Neoplatonism, which was like the last school of Greek mythology. And although she herself was a pagan, she was tolerant towards Christians, and she taught many Christian students. She was, at the time, the world's leading mathematician and astronomer.
Wow.
As far as females in this field of science at this time, it was her and no one. Like, that was it.
Yeah.
But it wasn't just that, she's the most famous woman doing this shit. No other woman was doing this shit at this level, at least that we know of. I should be fair and say.
Yeah.
If there was someone else, it wasn't recorded.
Yeah.
Right. So
it only counts if history remembers you.
She was the leading human mathematician and astronomer of this time. And she would drape herself in the robes of the academic elite. The robes are called a tribon, which only men were allowed to do at the time.
Like what Socrates wore?
Yeah. But, good thing she didn't give a fuck about that. Because she would wear them, and then she would go into the center of town and tell the crowds her thoughts about Plato and Aristotle. And she drew crowds.
Yeah.
They listened and they fucking loved her. We've heard stories of women like being shunned and jailed or even killed for trying to be teachers or trying to be equals to men. Mm-hmm. So how did she get away with this? Not just get away with it, but she was celebrated by her male peers and her students. So scholars think it had to do with one thing. She was celibate. She took not a vow of chastity that would kind of make you feel like she was doing it for another reason, like the wife of God or something. No, she was just celibate. Because in this way, she appeared sexless and she was less threatening to society. That's what scholars say. But I also kind of wonder if these scholars were just men who thought that she must have been listened to because she was deemed unfuckable or something. Which, like, I can't fuck her, so I might as well listen to what she's saying type of stuff. I don't know.
Didn't we discuss that that's like a thing?
With Phyllis Diller. She did the same thing in her early stand-up.
Yeah.
But also remember that Greek society at this time thought that celibacy was a virtue. And she was a Neoplatonist, so she followed Plato. And she may have been following Plato's idea on the abolition of the family system. So, like, if you don't fuck, you don't have a family, right? The Suda Lexicon, a 10th century encyclopedia of the Mediterranean world, which I would love to get my hands on, I didn't even know it was a thing until now, describes her as being, quote, exceedingly beautiful and fair of form, in speech articulate and logical, in her actions prudent and public-spirited, and the rest of the city gave her suitable welcome and accorded her special respect. In other words, she was extremely fuckable.
Yeah.
Like, everyone loved her. But she never married, and reportedly she died a virgin.
Maybe she was asexual.
We don't know. I mean, I don't know that they had vocabulary for
No, but that's what I mean. Like, maybe she was... Because there are a lot of things, like, the idea of pansexuality, like, to me, always kind of fell under the umbrella of bisexuality. Like, I thought that's what bisexuality meant, was, like, I didn't...
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But, that's what I'm saying. Like, maybe that's just... that if those labels existed, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's where she is on the spectrum of sexuality.
Could be. We don't have the TARDIS, so we can't go ask her.
Well, fucking A.
But of course,
it's almost 2020. How do we not have time travel by now?
I don't have my flying car, so
it's ridiculous.
Okay. However, we are still trying to figure out if Nazis are bad.
Yeah,
and whether or not the Earth is round.
I feel like Indiana Jones figured that out. Like, we didn't even need to, like...
He's very disappointed in us.
Oh, man. Can you imagine?
Yeah. Anyway, back to her. Guys, of course, we're still trying to hit it.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Sounds like I would probably try and hit it.
And this is one of my favorite stories about her. You're going to love this. This one guy kept trying to get with her. And she's like, what part of celibate do you not understand? Like, fuck off, I'm doing important shit and being amazing. And he wouldn't give it up. Yeah. So she lifted up her robes, grabbed her bloody menstrual pad-like thing that she was wearing, and threw it at him.
Well done.
Saying, basically, this is kind of what she was saying, your love is just lust, and you have no idea about the reality of women, so here it is. You have my pussy now. You ought to be cured of your obsession with me.
Oh, shit.
And he was. He was just like, okay, I'm done.
Wait, what? You bleed? Oh, I'm out.
Yeah. So she has been described as a universal genius. Mm-hmm. She was a teacher, philosopher, trusted counselor, astronomer. Scholars are divided about the idea that she actually invented things, but she did build astrolabes and hydrometers. And then because she built them and taught other people to build them, some people say she invented them, but honestly, the astrolabes were being used like 900 years before she was born.
Yeah, so
that's really easy to check.
Yeah.
It doesn't take anything away from her. She was amazing.
It's great that she was building them. That's still...
Yes.
I'm impressed. I can't build one.
Oh.
I mean, maybe I could if I tried, but...
Yes, you could. Of course you could.
But I have no interest in trying, so I'm not going to build one.
Right. Well, there's that.
That's my greatest weakness.
Sure.
Not caring.
So she's known to have edited at least book 3 of Ptolemy's Almagest, which supported, like, this is the thing that supported the geocentric model of the universe, like, that we use now. So when I say that she edited it, it means she corrected parts of it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, she sounds really awesome.
Yeah, so at first it was thought that she had, like, merely revised her father's commentary on the Almagest based on the title. Now, this is the title of Theon's commentary on this book. And it reads, Commentary by Theon of Alexandria on Book 3 of Ptolemy's Almagest, edition revised by my daughter, Hypatia, the philosopher. Aww. Isn't that sweet?
What a good daddy.
Yeah, he's such a sweet and supportive dad.
I like him.
However, based on analysis, scholars have concluded that Hypatia corrected not just her father's commentary, but the text of Ptolemy's itself. Super fucking cool. That's like editing Einstein.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Oh, it's so awesome. I've never heard of her.
Yeah,
I actually have studied shit, you know?
Yeah. I feel like she definitely should have been on the list of, like, those people that we studied. When we're studying, like, Pythagorean.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
yes.
Pythagoras.
Yes.
Pythagorean.
Like, this is who...
I didn't even study it very well. I don't know.
Pythagorean theorem?
It's the Pythagorean theorem, but he's Pythagoras.
A squared plus B squared equals C squared.
That's right. Every time.
And twice on Sunday. Hoo-ha! So, she wrote a commentary on Diophantus's 13-volume Arithmetica, which had been written sometime around the year 250 AD. It set out more than 100 mathematical problems for which solutions are proposed using algebra. Now, only volumes 1 through 6 of this have survived in the original Greek, and the most likely source of the additional material is her. Like, she's the one, because she was the only ancient writer known to have written a commentary on it. And the additions appear to follow the same methods used by her father, who taught her. Even cooler...
So we wouldn't even know about them if it weren't for her.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah. So even cooler is that they think that the surviving texts of Arithmetica is actually a school edition produced by her to aid her students.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing?
That's so crazy. And you were talking about, earlier we were talking about note-taking.
Yes.
It's like extreme note taking.
Yes, that's what I do. Well, a part of what I do.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Stacie is easier to say than Hypatia.
Hypatia.
Hypatia. I was so close.
Yeah, it looks like Hypatia. Hypatia.
Yeah.
It's Hypatia.
Hypatia, yeah.
Which is really pretty.
That is pretty.
Yeah. So this Christian historian, Socrates of Constantinople, a contemporary of Hypatia, described her in his ecclesiastical history. So this is a quote from him. There was a woman at Alexandria named Hypatia, daughter of the philosopher Theon, who made such attainments in literature and science as to far surpass all the philosophers of her own time. Having succeeded to the school of Plato and Plotinus, she explained the principles of philosophy to her auditors, many of whom came from a distance to receive her instructions. On account of the self-possessed and ease of manner which she had acquired in consequence of the cultivation of her mind, she not infrequently appeared in public in the presence of the magistrates. Neither did she feel abashed in going to an assembly of men, for all men, on account of her extraordinary dignity and virtue, admired her the more. But as I mentioned, this was a time of religious strife. Hypatia practiced paganism at a time when Christianity was kind of just starting out. Many pagans had already converted to Christianity out of fear of persecution, but not our girl. She blatantly practiced her paganism. And at first the government of Alexandria supported her, but once the Christians started inciting violence in the city, the government stopped trying to protect her. So one of Alexandria's most notable bishops, Cyril, led the charge to take her down. Fucking Cyril. He couldn't fight the government, so he decided to get her by proxy. First, Cyril and his allies attempted to discredit her and undermine her reputation. Because of her popularity, Cyril and his allies attempted to just start making up shit about her keeping different religious factions from reconciling, and therefore she was the reason there was still strife and fighting. Like, I would totally make up with this guy, but this bitch is telling me not to.
That's the classic, right? Throw somebody under the bus.
Exactly.
Or onto the bus, depending on what you're doing.
Yeah. But, I mean, this was, big deal, like high government stuff. And it's like, we could totally come together and reconcile, but she's making it so I can't. And then everyone's pissed at her because there's strife. So other rumors that spread alleged that she had engaged in satanic practices and other bullshit. Here's a quote from some of the writings of 7th century Egyptian Coptic Bishop Dickweed, John of Nikiu. And I don't even care that I may have pronounced his name wrong, because fuck him. Okay. As far as I'm concerned, he doesn't deserve it. Doesn't deserve the respect. So, because this is all fucking bullshit. Okay. I'm getting mad. I'm getting hot. In those days, this is a quote. And in those days there appeared, in those days there appeared in Alexandria a female philosopher, a pagan named Hypatia. And she was devoted at all times to magic, astrolabes, and instruments of music. And she beguiled many people through her satanic wiles. And the governor of the city honored her exceedingly, for she beguiled him through her magic. And he ceased attending church, as had been his custom. And he not only did this, but he drew many believers to her, and he himself received the unbelievers at his house. So actually, she sounds amazing.
Yeah.
She's like playing instruments.
Yeah.
And doing all this great,
being super smart,
really fun stuff. So this asshole Cyril.
Even, like, I gotta tell you, for a pagan to start worshiping Satan, I feel like the Christians won, right? Because, like, a pagan doesn't believe in Satan.
Right.
Christians believe in Satan. Satanists don't even believe in Satan.
Right. So this asshole, this Cyril.
This fucking Cyril.
Yeah, this fucking guy. He ordered a mob of monks to kidnap her.
Fucking monks.
So here's where it gets sad.
Yeah.
They attacked the carriage that she was in and pulled her out. They dragged her through the streets as they tortured her. They burned her. They scraped her skin off with oyster shells.
What the fuck? That's really specific.
Yeah. Then they took her to a church where they stripped her naked, beat her with roofing tiles, and tore her limbs from her body.
Oh, man.
And that is how Hypatia died.
Why didn't they just give her poison like they did to Socrates? That's terrible.
Because they
teach women to shut up.
Her. Yeah.
Fuck those guys. Fuck you, Cyril.
Unfortunately for Cyril and all the other fuckwads, by killing her, they immortalized her. Because honestly, had they left her alone, her work and name may have never been remembered.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she won.
Huh.
I mean, that fucking sucks.
I mean,
but she won.
I know Cyril's name, but like barely.
Yeah. Well, he's a dickhead.
He's just be remembered as an asshole.
Yeah. Yeah. Way to go.
I'd rather not be remembered.
Yeah. Well, she is remembered.
Scraping their skin up. What the fuck?
Yeah, there was
Who
a
fucking
word.
Thinks that?
So
their tortures were like, what's handy?
It definitely was. It definitely was that, because
Terrible
the word that they used was like this ancient word that can be used to describe both oyster shells and roof tiles.
Oh, okay.
So how I read it is that no, they used both. And then I've read it, no, it was just roofing tiles. And then other people said, no, they stoned her with those items.
Okay.
Okay, so...
Yeah, because I don't know that you could kill someone by throwing oyster shells at them.
No, but...
But you could definitely scrape their skin off.
Because they said she was tortured, so, she may not have even been conscious at that point. And then you can just, not. Fucking...
I really hope she wasn't when they ripped her arms off.
Yeah, by that point, I think she's pretty dead.
I feel like, yeah. Well,
so it's just desecrating a body.
Yeah. But it depends if you could, sometimes, you can die from the shock beforehand.
Yeah.
When people are, drawn and quartered.
Yeah.
You can live for a while.
Ugh.
Yeah, with your guts out.
Yeah.
I mean, they do it to women all the time.
Yeah.
C-section.
It's bad.
Let's have your guts out and get the baby out of the way, and then we'll put your guts back in.
It happens all the time. But that's just a modern medical thing.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, well, I'm going to go do this thing on Tuesday.
I always imagine, this is my question. So my girl got beheaded. Your girl got, ripped limb.
She died of death.
She died of extreme death. Extreme case of death.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if I've heard stories about other people being drawn and quartered. Mm-hmm. And tortured and things. I'm curious to know how often that actually happened, or is it like quicksand?
Oh yeah.
Because quicksand seems like
I thought quicksand was going to be a much bigger problem when I was a child.
Oh yeah, there was quicksand in every show, and you're I definitely I remember reading articles to learn how to survive quicksand.
Yeah.
Should I ever come upon it? But no articles on how to not be drawn and quartered.
Well, don't become a famous person that bucks the system.
Okay. Check and check. I learned that from... Oh, that's going to be a dark joke. Never mind.
Okay. Tell me later, okay?
Okay.
So today...
Sometimes I think things and I remember other people don't have my sense of humor.
But I love you for it, so it's okay. Today, she has become a symbol for feminists, obviously.
Yeah. And pagans, I hope.
A pagan and an atheist martyr.
Yeah.
And many, many books and stories have been written about her.
Although I would say a pagan is the exact opposite of an atheist, because you believe in a lot of gods.
Yes, and too bad, because she's a symbol for both. Okay, for example, Voltaire used her as a way of condemning the church and religion. And an English clergyman named Charles Kingsley made her the subject of a mid-Victorian romance. And yes,
Ooh.
I would totally read an English clergyman's mid-Victorian romance about her. That shit's got to be off the hook, right?
Oh my God, it's going to be a lot of, no, I can't. I'm celibate.
Nigel.
So celibate.
Nigel, no.
I feel your member on my robes, but I'm super celibate.
Nigel, you're tumescent. In 2009...
Adjust my astrolabe.
Your astrolabe is pointing north, Nigel. Breathe.
All right.
Breathe. This is like when we got the giggles.
It is.
On our retreat. Okay. In 2009, there was a Spanish movie called Agora. And she was played by Rachel Weisz.
What?
Yeah.
Wait a second.
I thought you'd like that.
I feel like Rachel Weisz is like a little northern.
White? I think is the word you're looking for?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I was trying to say it in a non-racist way.
Okay. Northern. We'll go with that.
Far northern.
The film is a historical fiction telling of her trying to save the library from Christian zealots.
Okay.
Okay?
All right. Did the Christians, are they the ones that started the fire?
It was always burning since the world's been turning.
They did start the fire. This fucking...
Yeah, it was something that I learned from doing this, and it was part of the history that I just didn't have time to go into. It was a gradual thing.
The burning was a gradual thing?
It was a gradual thing. Like, this part got destroyed, then this part got destroyed, then this guy came in, and then there was a fire, and then these were taken to another place, and then that place was destroyed and a church was built.
Huh.
So it wasn't just like someone lit a match.
Yeah,
and
I always just imagined that it was like the burning of San Francisco.
No.
Just like one night, the whole library was gone. Oh, fascinating. I'll have to look into that.
So I'm going to end with a quote from Michael Deacon, who wrote his 2007 book, Hypatia of Alexandria. He said, quote, "Almost alone, virtually the last academic, she stood for intellectual values, for rigorous mathematics, aesthetic Neoplatonism, the crucial role of the mind, and the voice of temperance and moderation in civic life."
So maybe she wasn't actually that much fun.
I think she was, though. I think she...
Definitely, like, so smart.
And evidently gorgeous. So cheers to her.
To her.
Yeah. And why did I not know until now?
I don't know. I feel like she definitely is one of those people we should have heard of.
Yeah, she's a big deal.
It's frustrating.
She's a big deal. It's frustrating, yes. But it's also fun to find people that we haven't talked, that I don't know about. There's kind of an adventure, kind of an Indiana Jones about that.
Yes.
And then to bring them to our listeners so that maybe they go, "Oh my God, I've never heard of her either." And then some of them are going, "God, dumbass, what school did you go to?"
Yeah, exactly.
So there could be that.
They're going to be like California public school system.
God damn it. Yeah.
Yeah, we know. We went there.
Yeah. But we're homeschooling our kids, so we're trying to make the second
They're gonna be even
generation.
No,
the shit that Kent knows.
Oh yeah, no, trust me. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
They'll be fine. But yeah, this is kind of the part of it. It's finding those hidden treasures that are so fun to me, and to know that there's another one out there. I got to go find her.
Yeah.
Just all the time. And then, of course, to talk about the B. Arthurs and the Phyllis Dillers, and I'll probably talk about Elaine Stritch at some point, because there are also women that I know and love that other people don't know the stories behind them, which I think that's what I heard when we got feedback about B. Arthur and Phyllis Diller. People were like, "I had no idea she was so fascinating. I just thought she was Dorothy on Golden Girls, or I just thought she was that crazy comedian." I was like, "No, she did a Playboy Centerfold." Yeah. That's what she was. Yeah. And she was amazing.
It is fun. Every time we choose a new topic, it's like an adventure.
Mm-hmm.
What are we going to... This story, I legitimately had a story of a person who really did something for the world. And actually someone's, way too many in the 20th century, let me tell you. The fact that people are still being murdered for trying to make the world a better place is a real load of bullshit. It's very frustrating. You're reading these stories about people who are trying to, bring democracy to parts of South America.
Yeah.
It's like...
That's the other thing about doing research, that you realize not much has changed through the eons.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a real downer.
History does repeat itself. We got fucking James
Buchanan
in the office right now.
History, people. Okay.
They are. They're listening. These guys are doing it.
Good. Go study more.
Our listeners
and then vote.
Yeah, definitely vote, you guys.
Yeah, unless you really like red hats, then maybe don't. Listen.
Yeah.
Is the rest of that sentence. Just kidding. So, how much time do we have? Do we have any time?
We got like 5 minutes.
Okay. thoughts real quick. I'm going to go to a topic that is a current event topic. Ellen being friends with George Bush being used as a conversation about leftists having to respect and listen to people who are like bigoted. Right?
Yeah.
Thoughts on that? Are you for it or against it?
Yes or no? Being friends, yes or no? I think it's important to. I have people on the other side of the aisle in my family, and we've just decided that we're gonna stay family. Mm-hmm. You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But that person that I'm talking about was not in a position of power to actually make laws that would take away my rights as a member of the LGBTQ community. Mm-hmm. So I guess he gets a pass. It's gross anyway. Like, all of this is really gross. But again, if we just tell everyone to fuck off, we won't get anywhere. Like, I can't change your mind if you don't know me and learn to love me and go, oh, maybe people in that community aren't so bad because Stacie's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But then again, fuck them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I go back and forth because I think communication is important, and I think other people getting out of their bubble and learning about other communities, and why did people vote for him?
Yeah.
So if it's because they're racist and he was like, hey, follow me, I am too, then I don't have much to say about it. If they seriously had they were almost bamboozled because they have money problems and they just saw that no one was listening to them.
Yeah.
I've heard people talk rather eloquently about we were lost, and he sounded like he could help us because he was going to tell the rest of them to fuck off, and maybe we could get some change around here.
Yeah.
So I think they were bamboozled. It's hard because when you get down to it, you're talking about people. Mm-hmm. But I'm a person too. And my gay and lesbian friends, they're people too, and they deserve to have rights, and they deserve just to be able to live their lives and get married and be happy. But every day, this administration is trying to take away their rights, and transgender people are dying.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's hard. Like, with Ellen, she has done so much for that community, so it feels dirty.
Mm-hmm. I do also feel like who he is today is not the person that was the president. And I don't know, I feel like he has been impacted in a way that Jimmy Carter was impacted by his time.
That's my boy.
Yeah, oh, he's a fucking champion, man. You want to talk about what I look for in a candidate?
Yeah.
It's fucking, except way younger. Because he's like 1,000 years old.
I had a bit of a crush on him when I was a little girl. I mean, I was little. Was
it because he was swing a hammer?
Yeah.
And you were like, oh.
He had a huge peanut farm.
He likes peanuts and he can swing a hammer.
My Uncle Bunkle, who was my best friend growing up, he died when I was 6, but he talked politics with me to the point, I don't know if I've said this on air, but when the hostages were taken in Iran, I was such a little girl. I think I was like 6. And I went in the other room and I got out my paper and my crayons and I started drawing this kind of Rube Goldberg machine that would assassinate the Shah of Iran. The Ayatollah. Yeah, Ayatollah Khomeini. I think I was 6.
Well, you were like, there's a bad guy, and you were wanted to get rid of the bad guy.
It was like this hits this, and then the arrow hits the balloon, and
that definitely sounds like it would work.
Yeah, it was genius.
I can imagine.
It would have worked.
Oh, I'm sure it could have.
But my point is, I had someone in my life that was telling me about policy and about history. I remember crying on his shoulder when Anwar Sadat was assassinated. I mean, just crazy shit like that. But I had someone that told me history and put things, even at a young age.
Yeah.
I wasn't ignored. I was a person, and I recently found audio tapes of Uncle Bunkle and me talking about stuff like this. Because I had a speech impediment. So my parents bought me a tape recorder so that I could record myself and hear how I wasn't speaking correctly. I think that was what the therapy was. And now I have all these tapes.
That's
and it's
cool.
amazing. Yeah. Did I answer your question? I feel like I rambled.
You did. It's okay. That was your post-ramble.
That's right.
It's like a pre-ramble, but different.
It's like a virgin.
Like a virgin. Ripped apart for
Whoa!
the very first time.
No.
I bet that broke her hymen.
Oh. Okay, we got some business to take care of.
All right, but you gotta leave that hymen shit in. That was gold.
The golden
I can be
hymen.
Contacted on Instagram.
That's right.
Facebook, Twitter.
Speaking of that, that's exactly what I want to talk about. Okay, people.
Oh, yeah, us too, I guess.
We need reviews, please. Will you please, if
5
you're enjoying
stars
this
only.
kind of
2 is
stupid
fine.
shit that we're doing, will you please leave a review? It really helps us, and then we actually feel like we're not speaking into the void. And on that note, will you please drop us a line and tell us your story? Just tell us about you. You know, we don't care. We're just looking for friends.
That's right. No
yeah,
dick
tell
pics.
us about you. No dick pics.
Please.
Tell us.
I mean, if it's like really nice, maybe.
No.
I'm just kidding. Please don't.
Please don't. If you have a story to tell us, we would love to hear it. If you are our listener in Kazakhstan, we want to hear from you. Please
we talk about
drop
you
a line.
all the time.
We talk about you not only
Not
on air.
on the
like
air.
we talk, you're our friend.
We want to know you.
When we talk amongst ourselves, and we would just love to know: are you an expat? Are you, who are you? You're like our mystery person.
You are the mystery.
And we kind of love you for it because you're keeping up with us, and that's awesome. What else, Tab? What else do we have to talk about?
Have a safe and happy All Hallows Eve.
Yeah.
And remember, dark magic comes back at you tenfold, ladies. So let's keep it clean, okay?
Keep it clean. White candles only.
That's right.
Yeah.
None of this throwing tampons at people. Also, P.S., if you have daughters, this is a public service announcement, okay, that my daughter has alerted me to some kind that's like, it's like the Tide Pod challenge, but even more fucking odious and disgusting. Girls are telling other girls online to eat their tampons.
No, that's not good.
Please talk to your daughters about this. It is horrific. It is extremely unhealthy and dangerous. Please tell your daughters not to eat bloody tampons out their vagina. Okay?
Wow, that's a sentence
it's
I
a thing.
never thought I would hear.
I thought it was a joke.
Wow.
But girls are joking about it, and other younger girls who don't have somebody to talk to or who haven't had it pointed out to them are doing this, and it is disgusting, and they can get sick.
Yeah,
You don't need to reclaim lost blood, okay?
Right.
I don't know who fucking told you that shit. It's like some weird Dracula fucking...
Also,
don't do it.
Warn your kids about the eraser challenge. Don't do the eraser challenge. That's
that
just
one?
stupid. It's the one where
heat
some
up
of
an
the
eraser?
it's bullyism. Like it's bullying completely.
Is it when you heat up a razor and put it on or a razor?
Eraser.
Yeah.
No, you don't heat it up. Someone holds your hands down, and then they take the end of a pencil and eraser, and then on the top of your hand just go back and forth so far that it causes a burn.
Oh my
and it just
God.
tears away your skin.
No.
And then you have to go wash your hands in hand sanitizer.
No.
Which would just burn to see if you can handle the pain.
Oh my God.
It's just like hazing and bullying, and it's fucking stupid. And
What?
little kids,
Can we just go back to
little kids
freezing
are doing it.
bras or whatever?
Yeah,
like,
right.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
All right, yeah. So talk to your kids tonight, okay, about this shit. Just like make sure if they're online that they're not like eating dirty tampons or whatever.
Oh, Lord. The things we didn't think we would have to warn you
Ever
about.
in a million years.
All
A billion years. Okay.
Hey, friend. This was really fun.
I know, I have to shut up now.
No, you don't have to shut up because we're going to keep talking
talking
all
to
night.
you.
Yeah.
Haha, you guys don't get to hear it.
They're like, oh my God, we just listened to you
They're
bitches
like,
for an
thank
hour.
God.
Go away already. But this is my happy place. I'm really glad that I got to come back. And we're at
Yes.
Tabitha's new house, so we're actually
Yes.
laying in her bed. doing this, which is much more comfortable.
This was the cleverest plan to get Stacie into my bed, was meet her, befriend her, be friends with her for several years, talk her into starting a podcast, do that for a year, and then move. Boom.
Boom.
Got her in my bed. That's how you do it.
Little did she know, she just had to ask. All this subterfuge.
This is what happens when you mix alcohol with podcasting.
Oh, man. Podcast safely.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Are we good?
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween. Happy October. Hopefully we will be at your ears soon.
Yes.
Give us story ideas too. Tell us who you want us to cover. Okay, that's it.
Okay, bye.
This is too much of a preamble. All right, everyone. We love you. Stay slutty.